Hi, this is Carol Greenberg, and with me is...
Andy Greenberg. And it's nice to have you guys here today. And you know what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about absolutely nothing. That's right. 1
Nothing?
hour of maybe a little bit less of nothing. Because you remember the Seinfeld show?
Yes, it was all about nothing.
It was all about nothing. So what we're going to be doing today is basically the same thing, nothing. However, just like Seinfeld, everything that we talk about is going to be different. And you're going to learn things, just like you did on Seinfeld, about things you never knew about. And by the time you're done, as always, you're going to be so happy that you learned everything. So, as a matter of fact, let's begin. How many of you have watched the Seinfeld show? Anybody watch the Seinfeld show? Yep, I bet some of us even still watch it today. So, here's something that you didn't know about the Seinfeld show. The very first words spoken on the Seinfeld show were exactly the same as the last words spoke on the Seinfeld show.
Wow, what is that?
Yep, what is that? Button up. Are you ready?
Yes.
Button up.
Button up?
Button up. We're very close. And here's what exactly Jerry says to George. See, now to me, the button is in the worst possible spot. The second button literally makes or breaks the shirt. Look at it. It's too high. It's in no man's land. And that was the very first line of the Seinfeld show. And, of course, the very last line. So let me give you some other things that you never really knew about. Did you ever watch the show Married with Children?
Yes.
Yes. And there were two people competing for that role. The one that actually got it and one that didn't. Care to guess who did not get that role?
I have no clue.
A fellow by the name of Michael Richards.
Oh, he played on the Seinfeld show.
And who did he play?
He played Kramer.
Now, which role would you have preferred to have gotten? The one on Married with Children or the fame that he got out of Kramer, with the exception of the fact that he made some bad jokes a couple of years ago and that destroyed it. Well, let's go on to another one. Ever watch the TV show Friends? These, of course, are a lot of the popular ones. Ever see the show Friends?
Mm-hmm.
I bet you never noticed this. I don't have a picture of it. But the next time that you look at it, look at this on Monica's door. There is a frame that is empty.
A frame of what?
Of nothing.
Okay.
Because originally there was a mirror there. But the very first time that they put it up there, boom, that's what happened. It broke. They never replaced it, and it was blank. By the way, we're going to cover a lot of other things about TV shows, but since I started talking about this is a discussion about nothing, I might as well have began with a person that was known for nothing. Now, have you ever heard of a fellow by the name of Michael Keaton?
Yes, sure.
And who is Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton played Batman.
He played Batman, and he had some other very important roles. How about this? You know where he got his Hollywood start? Not in front of the screen, but behind the screen.
He's the cameraman?
Very close.
He was the makeup artist?
Very even closer.
He was the gaffer?
Very close.
He worked in production. He did the food.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
He was a puppeteer.
A puppeteer.
And he operated a trolley. What old TV show had a trolley?
That Mr. Rogers?
That's exactly right.
Wow.
We don't rehearse this stuff, by the way. We do not rehearse this stuff.
Wow.
Just in case that you didn't know. All right, so how many of us have ever watched a reality show?
Yeah, we've all watched a reality show from time to time.
Yep, and the very first reality show, I'm not going to ask anybody to guess because I wouldn't expect anybody to know, was the show Cops. Cops Night Watch was the very first reality show. So why did people come up with a reality show to begin with?
They want to see what's going on.
Very close, but nowhere near what happened.
I don't know.
1988 was the year, and you might remember this. Some of your favorite TV shows stopped being on the air. Why would they stop being on the air in 1988?
I don't know.
There was a strike.
A strike.
And who went on strike?
Maybe the TV show, the producer, the actors, the actresses. I don't know.
Nope. Who else could be involved in a TV show? You can't even have a TV show without these folks.
The cameraman.
Nope.
The cameraman the script writers.
That's it, right there.
Script
The
writers.
script. See that? The script writers. These went on strike, and they couldn't do any TV shows. So what did one brilliant individual say? He said, "Okay, we're going to do TV shows that don't require a
script."
And that was the beginning of reality shows.
That's interesting.
Yep,
I never knew
there
that.
you go. That's what we're going to be talking about. Nothing that is interesting. And of course, it was followed up by an MTV show called The Real World. Now, let's stay on the subject of TV. In today's world, who is the most watched talk show host? Who is a woman?
Oprah?
Oprah. Now, here's something you never knew. Her original name was not Oprah. It was supposed to be Orpah.
I'm sorry to tell you, I knew that.
The one time I didn't ask her.
I knew that because I think she wrote it in one of her magazines.
Yes.
It was misspelled.
Where was it misspelled?
I think on the birth certificate.
Exactly right. The next time I'll ask. Yeah, very good. Now, how much of an Oprah fan are you?
I'm a pretty big Oprah fan.
All right. Are you a Superman fan?
Depends. It depends. I think it depends.
Tell the truth, because we have seen every Superman movie. Right. I still watch the old Superman TV shows.
But we've seen it because she wants to watch it. It doesn't mean I'm a Superman fan.
Yeah, but when the new TV show started, Superman and Lois, which we're into, by the way.
That's interesting.
All right, so here's something that probably none of us knew. There is in existence today a Superman statue.
And where is it?
What city do you think it is located in?
Metropolis.
Yes.
Wherever city Metropolis
yes.
is. Okay.
Metropolis is a town in southern Illinois, and in 1972 it decided to really become famous, and it built a 7-foot tall statue of none other than, actually in 1986 they did it, none other than Superman. So, these are things that you never, ever knew about. All right, let's go on to something else. Hope you find this interesting. Here we go. Let's talk about Disneyland.
Disneyland.
How many of us have been to Disneyland? How many of us have taken our children or grandchildren to Disneyland? How many of us went to Disneyland when we were kids? Yes, I've got a little secret to tell you. I was on the very first TV broadcast of Disneyland when it was on ABC TV. I was on the original episode. Yes, I was. You want to try and find me? Here's what you got to do. I'll tell you the story. My dad and I and my mom, we all went to, I have no brothers and sisters, we went to Disneyland, and unbeknownst to us, they were filming the opening TV show. Of course, it wasn't live. They didn't have videotape. They had the regular film. And you know that arch where you walk under and it's got the whole big thing, it's the whole symbol of Disneyland? They wanted a shot there, and they asked for people to stand there and take a shot. So I think I might have been, 8, 9 years old.
I don't think you were that old.
Maybe I was younger. I don't know. I have to go back to see when the first TV show was for Disney. Black and white, by the way. So I looked at my dad and I said, Dad, a lot of people here, hundreds of people. How am I going to see myself? He looked around. He said, you know what I noticed, son? I said, what? He said, it's hot today. I said, yeah, it is. What's your point? He said, no one's wearing a hat. I know you have a baseball cap with you. Put on your baseball cap. You'll be the only person with a hat. And then when it's on TV, you can see yourself. And guess what happened?
You saw yourself?
I saw myself. I don't have a videotape of it, but I remember that succinctly. So here we go. Disneyland, Disney World, by the way, is 40 square miles, which means it is larger than San Francisco and 2 Manhattans put together. Yep.
What?
Yep. Now, Carol, have you ever lost anything?
I try not to.
But have you?
That's my sort of claim to fame. What?
You never lost anything.
I wouldn't say that, but
No, not
I don't
that I
know.
know.
I don't think so.
Nope, she's never
But
lost
I don't
anything.
want to jinx it.
Okay, so we won't say anything, but I think it was the story your mom, rest in peace, told about you being in the beach one time with your pail and your shovel, and you never wanted to lose your pail and your shovel. You look at me strangely, but she told the story. So what does this have to do with anything? Please do not go to Disneyland because I don't want to jinx you. In Disneyland, every year, people leave 3,500 digital cameras, 6,000 cell phones, 18,000 hats, 7,500 autographed books, and I'm just going to ask you to guess, how many pairs of sunglasses do people leave in Disneyland?
3,000.
76,000
Wow.
glasses. Hey, I don't know if you're writing this stuff down or not, but you never know when you need it. I told you, it's about nothing, but it's fun. All right. You know what? We live in Lake Worth, Florida, and, of course, West Palm Beach, but these are nice little towns, and they make sense. Here are some towns you never knew existed. And I don't have the zip codes, but you can look it up, and it's true. Here we go. Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania. Ding Dong, Texas. I'm not making it up. Monkey's Eyebrow in Kentucky. And let's go to, oh yeah, you don't want to go here. You really don't want to go here. You know how sometimes you tell somebody, go to
hell.
Yep, then go to Michigan. There's a town called Hell, Michigan. Bet you didn't know that. Oh, by the way, this is very, very important. I try and keep this family friendly. I can't help it when I do the next one. Okay, so please bear with me. Bear with me. If you ever want to get a room because you and your partner want to become intimate, there's a town in Pennsylvania. You can't see it. Look at it go that you can't see it. There's a town in Pennsylvania called Intercourse, Pennsylvania. I don't make these things up, okay? This is absolutely true. And then there's Suck Egg Hollow in Tennessee. And there's Totally Stuck in Arkansas. This one you might have heard of. Truth or Consequences in Nebraska, in New Mexico. And number 22 on the list, I've been to. You've been to.
What is it?
And and I have a list here of the 23 silliest city names. We know one town. We've been to it. We ate in this town.
Well, where was the town?
It's in Nebraska.
It's Nebraska. I don't know. What is it?
Wahoo, Nebraska.
Oh, Wahoo! Yeah, Wahoo.
Wahoo, Nebraska. Now, by the way, if you ever wonder where the funeral industry started, there is a solution for you. If you ever get the opportunity to go to Houston, Texas, and we were there, and we did not go to this museum.
Morbid.
We didn't go. Why didn't we go? I don't know. But listen to this. If you want to look up on the internet, you can. If you want to learn more about this, you can. But in Houston, there is a place called the National Museum of Funeral History. And of course, you know when you leave, there's usually a sign that says exit.
Bye.
It says depart
Thank you
here.
for coming.
Depart here. I just made that up. Depart here. I had to do that. All right. Let's move on a little bit to some baseball. I think everybody is familiar with baseball, but here's something you didn't know. In what year was the very first pair of sunglasses worn in a baseball game?
1920.
Would make sense. You're not too far off. Only 40 years. 1882.
Wow.
But who invented baseball?
Somebody by the name of Henry? No?
Nope. Matt Henry. Abner.
Yeah.
Okay, close. Abner Doubleday.
Yeah.
Wrong.
No?
Wrong.
Okay.
We were all brought up with the fact that Abner Doubleday created baseball. It is a myth. It is not true.
Who did?
As a matter of fact, baseball, the game of baseball, was referenced, believe it or not, playing ball by the Greeks and the Chinese in the 14th century. And in the 14th century France, they have pictures of batters, pitchers, and fielders.
So how did he get it in there?
Well, I'm going to explain the story. I want to keep it short, so each one of these goes short. In 1801, there was a book called The Sports and Pastimes of the People of England, and they had a game called Stew Ball, which was similar to baseball. And then the game evolved in England, getting called baseball, and then Abner Doubleday, he formed, then there was a baseball club by the name of Knickerbocker Club, and then Abner Doubleday and Spalding and the Mills Commission in 1905, They were looking for the original source. They found it. It was Nat Abner Doubleday, but he did take everybody else's methodology of baseball and then put it together and created the game as we now know it. But he did not invent it, and he just compiled it from all other sources. All right, let's move on to some other silly stuff, and that is headlines. You know, when you get the newspaper, there's a headline. All right, so that we actually have some very, very interesting headlines. Here we go. Study reveals those without insurance die more often. And they actually put that on the headlines. How they got to there, I don't know. And you know how sometimes they say there's too much red tape? Here's a headline: red tape holds up new bridge. Now,
I know what they're trying to say, that they can't get the new bridge going because there's so much red tape, but it sounds like the red tape is actually holding up the bridge.
That's right. I don't write these things. Here's another one. Oh, get ready for this one. I don't want you to laugh too hard. Bladder control causes Sunset Beach flooding.
I don't know if that was a misprint.
That's the headline of the paper. Bladder control causes Sunset Beach flooding. All right, I don't think we need to talk anymore about that, okay? And let's see. Oh, yeah, if you know baseball, you like that one? Yeah, okay, I wouldn't have done that one. Thank you. Here we go. Ready for this? Police begin campaign to run down jaywalkers. You get that much? Police begin campaign to run down jaywalkers. And try this one on for size. Many of you might have heard of a player called A-Rod, which is Rodriguez. He just got, his first name just escaped me. Oh my gosh. A-Rod, Rodriguez, I forget his first name. Anyway, Alex Rodriguez. And anyway, he just got divorced from that beautiful looking lady.
No, he's engaged to her.
No, they broke up.
It's a fallacy.
No, they broke up.
They did not.
Anyway, here's what it says. You have to listen to this one. A-Rod goes deep. Wang hurt. So I'll let you think about that one, okay? Just telling you what these things say. Okay, then listen to this. You believe in psychics? Okay, here's one. Psychics predict world didn't end yesterday. I'm telling you. There's more. Local high school dropouts cut in half. I'm sorry, this is what they say.
Oh my God.
All right, I wasn't going to do this one, but I will. Sex education delayed. Teachers request training. Look at her. Okay.
I get it.
Okay, you all right? All right, I'll settle you down a little bit. War dims hope for peace. All right, one more, as long as I got her. Come back here. Come back. New study of obesity looks for larger test group. All right. I hope you're having fun with these. Carol had to leave. She couldn't compose herself. If you need to leave for a moment, by all means, go if you have to. But don't forget what happened at the beach. Okay. I just told them if they need to leave too. And if they need to go to the restroom, don't forget what happened at the beach. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Let's move to another topic here. See if you can gather your composure. I want to talk about bats. Bats. Now here's something interesting. Do you have any idea how many mosquitoes a bat can eat in 1 hour?
100.
Higher.
250.
Higher.
500.
Higher.
1,000.
Higher.
10,000.
1,200 mosquitoes in an hour. But here's something now, question. Who lives longer, a dog or a bat?
Well, the first one, I want to say the dog, but I know you're going to tell me the bat.
The bat. The bat lives an average of 30 years.
Oh, God.
Yes, 30. You imagine how many mosquitoes they have to eat in order to live that long? It's unbelievable. All right, here's a couple of other things you probably never knew and never thought of. How does a dog change its temperature when it's too hot?
I don't know. He might shake it out.
That's when they change personalities. So, you know what a dog's tongue...
Oh, yeah.
That's how they change their temperature. And they take a rapid breath at the same time, right?
Right.
Right? That's how they're cooling themselves off, in case you didn't know. Now, how many times in a minute do they breathe in order to cool themselves off?
25.
300 to 400 times a minute.
Wow.
My only problem with that is when the dog doesn't feel good and it's panting and the owner takes it to the vet and the vet says, okay, hold your breath. I'm not quite sure how the dog can resolve all of that. All right? Are you having fun so far? Is this absolutely about nothing? I told you it would be. How you doing so far?
Very well.
Good. All right, here we go. Do pigs fly?
No, but it's an expression people use, meaning same thing like when the hell freezes over.
Pretty much. But one time, a pig did fly, and it changed the entire airline industry. So if you are thinking about, wow, I've never seen a pig fly outside my airplane.
The pig was on the airplane?
Yeah. Yep. What happened was, there's a documented story in the year 2000 when you have a legitimate pet that actually assists you either emotionally or with sight or whatever, you're allowed to bring them on a plane. Well, this one particular individual, you know where this story is coming from, he decided to bring his pig on the plane. And in those days, there were no papers required saying that the pig was in fact an assisted animal. But the guy didn't want to take any chances. Believe it or not, he actually had a doctor's note saying that this pig would in fact be needed on the flight to calm the person down. Now, Carol, let me ask you a question. And you're sitting in coach, and somebody comes in with a dog, you're okay. What would you do if somebody comes in and has a pig sitting next to you?
I would change my seat.
What happens if they're all assigned seats?
I don't know.
By the way, to change your seat, who do you think you would find to sit next to the guy with the pig?
Somebody who likes pig.
Yeah. Well, no. Oh, I could see that now. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to find out, does anybody here like pigs? If so, please change seats with the person in row 8, seat C. Would you see that happening? No. Well, nobody complained. And the pig behaved himself until deplaning. When the deplaning came, the pig acted up and squealed and yelled and was absolutely awful. And as a result of that, 200 passengers were in total distress. And as a result of that, this airline, it was U.S. Airlines, has since revised its policy concerning service pigs. Service pigs are no longer allowed on U.S. Air. And by the way, is there a U.S. Air anymore? No. So all airlines have adopted that rule. Just stories about nothing. But we were talking about dogs before. If a dog is wagging its tail, is that a good sign of happiness?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No. You see, this is why you have to be here. If you see a dog that holds its tail high or low, and then from the low position or high position starts to wag it, get out. Get out.
I thought the wagging tail means the...
You see, this is the full wag. You see, this is why you need to be here.
Okay.
This kind of a wag or this kind of a wag
means what?
means that they are aggressive and they are about to attack. See, all the dogs we have, we didn't know. And you know what? You know how people always say, I'm getting myself into a lot of...
Hot water.
Hot water, what's another word?
Trouble.
Another word.
Getting myself in...
Starts with an M.
Into mischief.
Mischief. Yes. Where did that word mischief come from? You're about to find out, and you'll be glad you did. The word mischief actually connotates a group of rats. When you see a group of rats, that's what's called a mischief, in case you didn't know. And one other thing that is really important, each year rats cause more than 1 billion in damages in the United States alone. And now I'm going to tell you a story about rats. You might not have heard this story, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway. If you have heard it, you're going to hear it again. Here we go. So there was this synagogue, and I forget the name of the town. We'll say Boca Raton, because
Home of the Rats.
Home of the Rats. Okay, I don't know if it was Boca Raton, but it helps with the story. You might have heard this. Anyway, so the rabbi and the cantor and the president of the board were sitting around, and they were frustrated. They were extremely frustrated. Why? Because the synagogue was overwhelmed with rats. And they didn't know what to do. And they called in the rat exterminator. Didn't happen. They did things that everybody else would do to get rid of the rats. It didn't happen. And they were frustrated. It was keeping congregants away, and it was very disturbing during a service. However, the rabbi came up with an idea, whispered it in the cantor's ear. The cantor really liked the idea, and the president said, "So what's going on? What's the idea?" And the rabbi said, "We have an idea how to make sure the rats never return." The cantor said, "What's the idea?" He said, "Well, next Shabbos, we're all going to give them a B'nai Mitzvah." And of course, the president sat back and said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, it's very well known. Once you have a B'nai Mitzvah, you don't show up for shul anymore." And that's the story about rats. I didn't make this story up. But anyway, maybe I shouldn't have told the story. Anyway, rats, very, very, very important. All right, let's move on to something else. You ever use a can of WD-40? What do you use WD-40 for?
To get the door to loosen up.
To get the door to loosen up. So
or something to loosen up.
All right. Where did the name WD-40 come from?
I have no idea.
You want to know?
Yeah. Maybe it's 40 ingredients and something.
40 what?
40 ingredients.
Nice try. So the WD stands for water displacement, and the 40 stands for it took them 40 times to get the formula right. So it's called water displacement for that reason. All right, Carol, ever go to Starbucks?
Yes.
Yes, we love Starbucks, don't we? Where did Starbucks get its name?
I don't know.
Would you care to know?
Sure.
All right. So, anybody ever hear the story of the book Moby Dick?
Yeah.
Does that help you at all? You're a good reader?
Moby Dick.
All right.
Overboard, starboard.
Okay, you're very close. I'll tell you. Here we go. Moby Dick was the favorite book of one of the founders of Starbucks. He wanted to name the company after the story's fabled ship, the Pequod. Now, can you imagine saying, "Hey, I'm going to go to the Pequod for coffee"? Nope. So what did he do? Him and his partners settled on the name of the first mate of that ship, and the name of the first mate on that ship is? Starbucks. Did you ever notice that? Now, with that being said, what is the logo? It has a mermaid in it, right? It has a mermaid and a bunch of other stuff, which is absolutely like that. So there are some other names that I think are pretty important that we want to talk about. And for example, the Gap. Ever shop at the Gap? And the reason why they named it, by the way, this one might be easy. Why did they name it the Gap?
Generic apparel?
Generic apparel? Okay, nice try. Because the demands of the customers were between childhood and adulthood. Meaning,
so there's a gap.
What kind of a gap? What did we call it in the old days?
Growing spurt?
The generation gap. So they took the word generation out and they called it Gap. All right. How about Nike? What is Nike named after?
I don't know.
All right. Would you like to know?
I would like to know.
Nike is named after the Greek goddess of victory. The Greek goddess of victory. By the way, as you watch more and more of this, guess who might qualify to be on Jeopardy one day? You, because these are questions that come up on Jeopardy. So stay tuned because these are only going to get better. All right? Anybody ever drive a Jeep? Yep, I used to have a Jeep. I sure did. Where did the Jeep get the name from? Ready for this? This one's really archaic. Popeye the Sailor Man.
And what does he have to do with the Jeep?
Because Eugene the Jeep was a character in the 1936 Popeye comic strip which was actually a dog that could walk through walls, climb trees, and fly. When U.S. soldiers were given the new automobile in the early 1940s, they were so impressed with it that they named it after the Superdog, which was Eugene the Jeep. Bet you didn't know this stuff. But wait, there's more. Why do I say that? It comes from a very famous man. Everybody knows this man. As a matter of fact, the guy was Jewish. Ron Popeil.
Okay.
You don't remember Ron Popeil?
The name sounds familiar, but who is he?
Oh my gosh, Carol. Pocket Fisherman?
Who? What?
Oh, come on, guys. The Pocket Fisherman. He did the very first infomercials. He did Veg-O-Matic.
Oh, Veg-O-Matic, I know.
Now, do you know the success of Veg-O-Matic? This is
No.
absolutely amazing. Popeil learned to be a pitchman from his father, Samuel, a Jewish guy. And he built something called the Chop-O-Matic, which was changed into the name of Veg-O-Matic. And he sold them on TV as the greatest kitchen appliance ever made. Now watch this. He sold them for $3.98. Care to guess how many units he sold?
10,000.
More.
100,000.
More.
5 million.
More.
2 million.
More.
3 million.
More.
I don't know.
11 million. He made nearly $40 million on Veg-O-Matic. But he wasn't done. He then did the Pocket Fisherman. The Pocket Fisherman was selling for $29.99. He sold 2 million of those.
Wow.
Yes, Ron Popeil. And of course, one of the most famous inventions he did. You remember this. Your kids probably had it and you were upset that you bought it for them. That's right.
The microphone.
Mr. Microphone, the first karaoke thing. And he sold them for $19.95. And he sold 1 million of them. There it is, $19 million. If you add up Veg-O-Matic, Pocket Fisherman, Mr. Microphone, not to mention the electric pasta maker, the solid flavor injector, and of course, the most famous thing, and I think that really was a little bit of a joke, but he did it real well, the Formula 9 hairspray. You remember, guys, when you had that bald spot, there was an advertisement that said, spray the hair on your head.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And you know what? Millions were purchased, and it was $9.95 for the spray and $20 for the spray, shampoo, and finishing. He sold 1 million of those. There is $9 or $10 million right on that. And of course, the very first electric food dehydrator.
I had a dehydrator.
You did?
I wonder if it was from him.
Oh,
big round thing.
Yeah, we bought that. Oh, yeah, Ron Popeil in 1965. He sold it we bought it for $59.95, and once again, he came out of retirement to do that, and it was great. All right, let's move on to something else. Ready for more?
Ready for more.
Do you like all this stuff about nothing?
Yeah, something funny about nothing.
All right, now we're going to make it funnier. So then
Nothing to do about nothing.
we were talking about the headlines. Now we're going to talk about classified ads. Okay? Here we go. Let's see. Don't stand there and be hungry. Come in and get fed up. I thought that one was good. Okay? Open house. Body Shapers Toning Salon. Free coffee and donuts. Isn't that brilliant? I think that's brilliant. You bring them in, okay, and then you give them donuts, which means what? They have to come back again. Here we go. Golden Ripe boneless bananas, 39 cents a pound.
We never had a bone in a banana.
Now, see if you can catch this one. Semi-annual after Christmas sale.
Twice a year after Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Watch this. Mother's Helper. Peasant working conditions. Not pleasant, peasant working conditions. Which one? Wanted. A boy who can take care of horses and speak German. I don't know what's funny about that one. I skipped over that one. I don't know what's funny about that one. Okay? Okay, here's one. I wasn't going to do this one. Here we go. Stock up and save. Limit 1. I don't make these up. This is crazy. Oh, yeah, this one's good. Ready for this one? Braille Dictionary for sale. That sounds pretty good. Let me finish it. Braille dictionary for sale. Must see to appreciate. All right, here's one. Attorney at law. 10% off, free consultation. So in other words, what does that mean? He's going to give you 10% for coming in. For sale, an antique desk suitable for lady with thick legs and large drawers. Oh, golly. Now, Carol, a bachelor. Okay, a bachelor. You ever been a bachelor? When you're a bachelor, how much? I mean, you don't have to answer this, but I'm going to ask you. If you met a bachelor, what would you think about how often they wash their clothes or do personal hygiene very well?
I would imagine once a week,
twice a week. Catch this ad. For sale, Amanda washer, $100. Owned by clean bachelor who seldom washed. I don't make these up. All right, now I'm going to go to another subject. I'm going to name some Hollywood actors.
Okay.
And you tell me what they have in common. You too, you can play this too. Here we go. James Nicholson, James Corbin, Dennis Hopper, author Aldous Huxley, and music conductor Andre Previn. What do they all have in common?
They might have worked in a profession before they became famous?
Yeah, sort of. I'm going to also add Cary Grant in there, by the way.
I don't know.
Just think about it. This will really drive you nuts. Any idea what they have in common?
No.
All right. Ever hear of anything called LSD?
Yeah, they all took LSD.
Why did they all take LSD?
Because they were part of an experiment?
Very good.
I think they had an LSD experiment.
That's exactly right. The United States government actually developed LSD in order to use that as a non-killer type of a drug to expose other soldiers, enemy soldiers, so that it's non-lethal, so they don't have to kill them. But they needed some people to test it out.
These people volunteered?
These people volunteered to test it out. Absolutely. So, when you see their movies, you know that they were on LSD. All right, we also talk about parents who really influence their kids. But you know what? When you're adopted, you can turn out to be exceptionally successful. So let me give you some names of people. These are going to be famous, so I don't have to tell you who they are or what they did. They were all adopted. Here we go. Babe Ruth, Bo Diddley, Dave Thomas. You know who Dave Thomas was? The inventor of Wendy's.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Deborah Harry, you don't know, she was a famous singer. Malcolm X, Steve Jobs, Scott Hamilton, in case you didn't know. All right, let's move on to everybody's favorite subject, UFOs and space. Now, some of this stuff is really going to shock you. I'm telling you that right now. Here we go. Number one is as follows. The cosmos contain about 50 billion galaxies, not even stars. That one might not really help you, but the planet Earth is the only planet in our solar system that's not named after a
star?
Nope.
I don't know.
God.
A god?
Yes. Earth is the only...
Venus, Pluto, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Jupiter and Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Every other planet is named after a god. Now, by the way, here's something really interesting. Did the other planets name themselves? No. Did humans name the other planets? Yes. So in other words, when you took the telescope and you saw Pluto, it didn't say, "Welcome to Pluto, put mask on before coming in." It didn't say any of that stuff. We named it after gods, but when we invented the name for the planet Earth, we did not invent it after a god. I thought that was kind of interesting. You want to lose weight?
Who doesn't?
I have a great idea.
What?
If you want to lose weight, travel down to the equator. Because the closer you get to the equator, the less you weigh.
Why?
I have no idea. All right. Carol, you liked the headlines we did earlier?
I did.
Well, there's more, and then we're going to get back to the space. Oh, absolutely. Here we go. Statistics show teen pregnancy drops off significantly after age 25.
Well, after age 25, they're no longer teens.
Here we go. County to pay $250,000 to advertise lack of funds. I don't make these things up. 2 convicts evade noose. Jury hung. You get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's see what else we have. Which one did she find? Oh yeah. Mayor says D.C. is safe, except for murders. So these things have appeared all over the newspapers. Man shoots neighbor with machete. All right, and let's see. So just wanted to give you a few of those, and we're going to go back to space for a moment. Let me just turn the page here, and actually no. Oh yeah, I'm going to skip because there's a special order. Guess who saw UFOs? Anybody want to guess who saw UFOs?
We saw.
No. I mean famous people.
Famous people? I don't know.
Ready for this? Number 1, Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was known as the UFO president because he claimed that he saw a UFO. Jackie Gleason stopped drinking
because he saw a UFO.
Because he saw a UFO. Exactly right. And
at least for a while.
John Lennon saw a UFO. Ronald Reagan saw UFOs.
And this last one is so apropos.
Well, this one's a phony story.
Oh, this one's a phony
that's
story.
what I was going to mention. So, Ronald Reagan saw a UFO, and he said that he never told anybody during the elections because he felt that if he would have told people he saw a UFO, he would not have been elected. But the Jackie Gleason story goes even further. This one I think is really important. President Nixon took Jackie Gleason to the Homestead Air Force Base in Florida, where he saw the wreckage of a crashed spaceship and bodies of dead aliens. The incident had such a profound effect on him that he stopped drinking. How about that? Now, Carol and I saw a UFO. I'm not making this up. We were in Hawaii one day. We were driving in a convertible. There was something up in the sky. We couldn't figure out what it was. We were alone in the road, blah, blah, blah. We figured, okay, maybe there's something wrong. But who knows what the story is? We weren't drinking. I don't know. We even talked about reporting it to authorities.
Yes, we did.
But we didn't want to have the stigma of being one of those people who saw a UFO and then being escorted out of Hawaii. I just didn't want to do that, so I kept my mouth shut. But the very next morning, in the Hawaiian newspaper, they reported that many people called in and saw a UFO in the same spot we did and at the same time. That might explain why Carol and Andy are the way Carol and Andy are. We saw a UFO. Let's go a little bit into history. Ladies and gentlemen, Napoleon Bonaparte, right? Napoleon Bonaparte, right?
Yep.
Why did Napoleon Bonaparte, can't even pronounce it right, why was he defeated in his nearly very last battle? This one you will not know. Why was he defeated?
Because he was short.
Nope. Well, that didn't stop him in the past.
I don't know.
You ready for this one? This is life-changing for everyone. Napoleon regularly wore a black silk handkerchief as part of his wardrobe. And every time he wore that, battle after battle, he won. However, in 1815, he decided to change. He didn't want to do it anymore. And for the first time, he had a white handkerchief before heading into battle at Waterloo. And what battle did he lose?
Waterloo. But the connection there is that when you give up, you wave a white
That's
flag.
exactly right. That's exactly right. And it led to the defeat of him. All right, here's another one. Joan of Arc. Why was she burnt at the stake?
They thought she was a witch.
Yeah, well, that's what they told you.
I don't know.
There's always two parts to every part of the story, right? Yes, she was actually convicted of two crimes. Crime number one, witchcraft. Crime number 2, wearing men's clothing.
She wore pants.
Yeah, and even if she... Now, can you imagine Hillary Clinton in those days of Joan of Arc? I just thought about that out loud. That would have been a problem in those days, but who knows. Anyway, we got a few more of these things to go through with you. I hope you're enjoying them as much as we are, because it took a little bit of research. All right, here we go. How many of us have ever thrown a Frisbee? Yep. Where did the Frisbee originate? Remember, this is a little thing about nothing.
I don't know.
It actually came from a baking company. Yes, a baking company. Very smart baking company. And this goes back to 1903. In 1903, a fellow by the name of W.R. Frisbee, like it or not, he was a bakery manager. And did I say 1903? Take it back. 1871. And he was baking pies. And then when he passed away, I guess it was 1903, his son Joseph took over the business. And what he did was he made the pies in tin pans. And then people would take the tin pans home, and they never knew where they bought the apple pie from. So he inscribed on there Frisbee, because it was a Frisbee baking shop. Well, what are you going to do with a tin pan? So some people from New York University, Yale University, just for fun, they went out with the tin pans and they started flipping them. And lo and behold, what happened?
The Frisbee was born.
The Frisbee prototype was born. Of course, now we don't do the tin pans, because what happens? It hits somebody in the head. And then that thing evolved to the plastic, where it fell by 2 people by the name of Morrison and his partner. They looked at that design and they said, I think we can do better. They did it. They formed a company called Wham-O. And Wham-O also did something else that revolutionized. I said that, didn't I? Revolutionized the movement of hips. And as a matter of fact, I'm looking at somebody right here, as are you, who actually won a contest doing this.
Hula hoop.
Hula hoops. Remember hula hoops? They still have hula hoops. Was developed by the same company that perfected the Frisbee, which came from a dish. All right, just a few more. How many of us shop at Amazon? Yep. Where did Amazon get its name from?
I don't know.
Now, see, originally, Jeff Bezos, who's the guy that formed it, he wanted to call the company Cadabra.com. And all he wanted to do...
What do you want to call it?
Cadabra.com. Because it sounded like abracadabra. Now, interestingly enough, you went like that. Why?
It doesn't resonate with me.
But it also sounds familiar to another name.
What? Amazon?
No.
What?
A dead body is called a...
Cadaver.
So when he came out with that name, Cadabra.com, people said, my gosh, it sounds like cadaver, so the business got nowhere. So he said, all right, I got to come up with another name. So he wanted to do something with the first letter in the alphabet, which is A. So he looked through all the A's, and he finally found Amazon. Okay, what is Amazon?
It's like the Congo in Africa or something, the Amazon River.
Exactly right. The Amazon River is the largest river in the world. So, Amazon is made out of water. You spend money there. It's like money going down the drain. You knew I was going to come up with that. You didn't know that. Money coming down the drain. But that's where the name Amazon came from, in case you didn't know and wanted to know. All right. Let's go a little bit further as we come to the conclusion. Really wrong predictions. You ever make a prediction? I made a few bad ones, but I made a lot of good ones too. All right? Here's one that you might find interesting, and that is as follows. There's no reason, this was 1977, by the way, there's no reason that anyone would want a computer in their home. 1977. Now, you might say, okay, a lot of people thought that way. But who is the source of this? None other than Ken Olsen, Digital Equipment Corporation, which was one of the founders of the computer industry. By the way, where is Digital Equipment Corporation today? Not around. Why? Because Olsen did not do what was right. Here's another one. While theoretically and technically television may be feasible, Commercially and financially, it is an impossibility. Who do we credit that to? Radio pioneer Lee DeForest in 1926. All right, how about this one? The telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is inherently of no value to us.
People cannot live without their phones now.
That's right. We take it with us all the time, right? And who is that credited to? To Western Union. There was an internal memo. All right, real quick about cigarettes. What was the very first commercial manufacturer of cigarettes? Which brand?
Chesterfield?
Philip Morris. Philip Morris, first tobacco. And in those days, he was able to make 40 cigarettes could be hand-rolled in 1 minute, which is not a lot. In 1880, the first cigarette rolling machine could produce 120,000 items. And we're going to do one or two more. We're going to talk about popcorn, maybe do a couple of, we're going to talk about popcorn, and then we're going to end it. So, how many of us like popcorn? Yep. So, do you know what state has produced more popcorn than any other state in the country?
I think I heard it today.
Yeah, this one I did tell her.
Nebraska.
You have any idea? Nebraska, you betcha.
But
Nebraska.
You know what? That would make sense.
Yep.
The corn state is Nebraska.
It would make sense. But here's something it probably doesn't. When was popcorn first eaten? In other words, how old is popcorn?
I don't know. How old is popcorn? I don't know. 500 years old.
Listen to this. 5,000 years old. In 1948, pop kernels were around. They discovered pop kernels in a cave, I should say, in New Mexico that were 5,000 years old. By the way, what is Christopher Columbus famous for?
Discovering America.
No.
You just don't tell me spices.
No.
Popcorn?
Yes. Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Really?
It is said that Christopher Columbus introduced popcorn to Europe in the late 15th century. Care to guess how much popcorn people eat every year in America?
No, please tell us.
17 billion quarts of popcorn each year, which is enough to fill the Empire State Building 18 times. And so, ladies and gentlemen, with that, there'll be a pop quiz. I thought I'd throw that in, but that's too corny. I hope that you really enjoyed what we talked about today. We opened it up saying what? This would be a discussion about nothing. So, give me an evaluation. She never knows what's coming up. What do you think?
Well, for a discussion about nothing, I learned about everything.
Everything. So, things that will help you in jeopardy, things that will help you in life.
But you got to get to that buzzer fast.
Oh, yeah, you got to get to that buzzer fast. Anyway, thanks so much for joining in. We really hope that you enjoyed this hour about nothing. But you know what? It meant everything to us. See how I did that? Nothing, everything. It meant everything to us that you're here today watching us, learning from us, hopefully laughing with us, and remembering some of the things that we learned. Until the very next time, this is
Andy, and I'm Carol, saying goodbye.
And we'll see you guys later. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.